Open your eyes, you're sitting by the fire right where you always sit. But tonight, no one looks at you, no one moves over, the conversation just goes around you like you're not even there. The ground beneath you isn't soft, it's packed earth, cold where the firelight doesn't quite reach. You can smell wood smoke and wet leather and the fat still sizzling on the rocks. When the meat comes around, the hand that usually passes it to you hesitates, then passes it to the person next to you instead. You have to reach for it yourself. No one is shouting, no one is angry. That's the worst part. You're sleeping 10 feet away from 20 people who are pretending you're dead. And whether you eat tomorrow depends entirely on that silence. The first thing most people imagine about being kicked out of a tribe is Hollywood stuff. A big chief stands up, points a spear at you, and screams, "You are banished!" Two huge guys grab your arms and drag you past the fire while everyone stares. Actually, that almost never happened. Forget everything movies taught you about cavemen with kings. For most of human history, you lived in a group of maybe 20 to 40 people. Cousins, aunts, half-brothers, kids you grew up with. There was no chief with the power to banish anyone. No police, no prisons, no written laws, and a fistfight was stupidly dangerous. If you punch your best hunter in the mouth and he gets an infected tooth, everyone starves. If you break your own hand hitting someone, you can't make a tool for weeks. You become a liability to the whole camp. So if violence is too risky to use as punishment, how do you punish someone you still have to live next to? Which raises a fascinating question. What could you possibly do that was so bad they decided you weren't worth talking to anymore? Let's go. It wasn't stealing. Not really. If you grab a piece of meat from someone's hand, they'll grab it back. Instantly. You get a shove, a yell, maybe a bloody lip, and it's over by sunset. That's not the mistake that makes the tribe stop talking to you. The unforgivable mistake is quieter, smaller, and you do it for days before anyone says anything. You take the best cut when you didn't make the kill. You eat while you're supposed to be watching the fire. You come back from checking your snares with nothing again, and you laugh a little too loud and sit a little too close to the food anyway. You don't bring firewood. You don't watch the kids. You take the liver and hide a little honeycomb in your pouch for later. In a supermarket world, that just makes you annoying. In a camp where everyone can see everything you do, that makes you something much more dangerous. A free rider. Food sharing wasn't kindness, it was insurance. One hunter fails 70% of the time. Alone, you die on day 4. But 20 people sharing? Someone always gets something. When you take without giving, you're not rude. You're stealing from everyone's future. You didn't get ghosted for being mean. You got ghosted for being unreliable. And that ghosting doesn't start with a trial. It starts with gossip. You're out. You're checking your traps down by the river, feeling pretty good about yourself. Back at camp, the fire is low. Your name comes up. No shouting, no big argument, just lowered voices. Did he bring anything back yesterday? He took the liver, didn't even cut it. I asked him to watch the fire. He left. No shouting, no trial. For most of history, that was the trial. You feel it before you understand it. You come back into the clearing, hands empty, and the little conversation near the hearth stops. Just for a half second, just long enough for you to notice. Someone looks at you, then quickly looks away. Eye contact in camp is everything. If someone looks at you, you exist in the social web. You're part of the rope. When they stop looking at you, you're being unthreaded. So what really happens when they all agree that you're the problem? It happens in 3 stages, and you're living through stage 1 right now. Stage 1, no contact. No one passes you food. You have to take it yourself. When you tell a story, no one laughs. They look through you. Stage 2, no information. No one tells you where the herd moved. No one says we saw leopard tracks near your snares. Stage 3, no defense. If someone pushes you or takes your spot by the fire, no one steps in. Last week, 2 people would have grabbed him. Now everyone finds something very interesting to do with their hands. You are still there. But socially, you are already dead, which raises another question. Why does this work so well? Why not just hit the guy and be done with it? Why does being ignored break a person faster than a spear ever could? Because your brain was not built for being alone. 1 human is vulnerable. 20 humans become something entirely different. Alone, your chances of living 3 more months out here are basically 0. Who watches while you sleep? Who pulls the thorn out of your foot before it gets infected? Who naps a new blade while your hands are full holding meat? Who remembers which mushroom killed your uncle? You don't have claws. You don't have fur. What you have is other people. So your nervous system evolved to treat social exclusion like physical injury. We see it in brain scanners today. The same regions that fire when you touch a hot stove fire when you're left out of a game. Your phone is new. Your brain is 300,000 years old. Being ignored isn't just awkward. For your brain, it's a survival alert at the highest volume. The tribe never needed to build a prison. They just had to flip a switch in your head that evolution had already installed. So you're standing there, in the cold just outside the firelight, with that alarm screaming in your chest, and you finally understand. The mistake wasn't that you were weak or slow or bad at hunting. The mistake was that you forgot the one rule that matters. You thought you were a hunter who happened to live with a group. Actually, you were a thread in a rope that happened to hunt. Pull one thread out and the rope holds. Pull yourself out and you snap. But there is a way back in. And it's not what you think. You can't fight your way back in. If you swing at someone, you prove them right. You are dangerous, unreliable. You have to go. You can't argue your way back in either. Words are cheap when you're hungry. Nobody in camp cares about a good apology speech. You have to overshare. You stay up tending the fire so they wake warm. You bring back honey and give it all away, again and again, until one evening, someone looks at you again. One nod, the invisible net is back. You can feel the warmth of the fire again, not just the heat, but the belonging. For 300,000 years, belonging wasn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It was about being the person others trusted to share the meat when they were hungry and watch their kids when they were tired. And that ancient fear you felt tonight by the fire, that cold drop in your stomach when the conversation goes around you, you still carry it. Every time silence from your group hurts more than shouting, that's your ancestors reminding you. You survived because you belonged. You thought you were a hunter who happened to live with a group. Actually, you were a thread in a rope that happened to hunt. One human is vulnerable. 20 humans who share become something entirely different.